Do you absolutely love your clients and you want them to have the best experience ever working with you? Do you want them to feel at home, like you get them, that you're there to make their lives easier? Have you put much thought into how they actually experience you and your business? Today we're going to talk about small changes that have big impact. Hi, I'm Annie Kipp. I am a coach, I'm a strategist, and I'm a thought partner for high achievers and business leaders who want to position themselves and convey their authority in their field. Today I am sharing some small changes, some very nuanced things that you can do that will have a very big impact, and I think will make your clients love you because of the way it will make them feel. These changes are based on the way our brain works. Sometimes we just forget that our brains work a certain way and we fall into habits. And today I'm going to share and point out those little things that you could change and shift that will make a big difference in how it feels to be a client of your business and to work with you. First of all, I want to say that it takes a lot of practice to figure this out. You have to really put some thought and time into seeing how it is to interact with you and your business from the perspective of your client. Seeing things through someone else's eyes is not easy. You have to think about how the times that they interact with you fit into their everyday life. Are they at work? Are they at home trying to get in touch with you? Are they on their phone or their computer? We want to smooth everything out so that it feels like a pleasure for them to have your business as a part of their lives. So I have to say that I'm not perfect at this. I am always thinking about it and wanting to get better at it. There are glitches that come up along the way, but consider those learning opportunities. Sometimes we get direct feedback from clients and we have information to work with, but other times it really requires paying close attention and noticing where things are glitchy or where things might not be easy for them so that we can figure out what needs to be smoothed out and where we can make these small changes. To explain how subtle this is, I want to share a little story. I play tennis, and this morning I was out playing doubles with some ladies, and there are times in the game when the balls need to be moved from one side of the court to the other side of the court, or your partner needs to get the balls to you so you can serve. And I was noticing some really interesting, subtle differences in the way people did this. Some people will send them directly to you. We are good enough players that we can make sure that we send the ball directly to the person who's serving. Other people just whack the balls onto the other side of the court, and that means that the server then has to go chase them down, which is a waste of time for everyone. The other thing that happens is sometimes people will just leave the balls where they're standing on the court. The server has to then go walk over and get the balls before they can serve. And the other thing that happens, sometimes people will just sort of dribble the balls to you. So they're not actually tossing the balls to you, they're just letting them slowly roll over to you. And like I said, these are really subtle things, but I can see that the people who are whacking the ball over to the other side or just letting the ball dribble or leaving the balls on the court are not thinking at all about the end user or about the whole experience that we're trying to create on the tennis court, which is enjoyable tennis. Enjoying our time out there, not wasting time running around, not wasting energy chasing down balls that aren't part of the match. It's just a really good example of if you think about how the end user is experiencing what you're doing, you can make little adjustments that will make a really big difference. When you're interacting or working with someone, just start to become a little bit more aware of how they are experiencing you. This is totally different, by the way, than people pleasing. This is just being aware of how we're impacting other people. You can start to imagine what it's like for them to be on the other side of interacting with you and receiving whatever it is that you're putting forward. So once you've started paying attention to the way people experience interacting with you, you can dial it up a notch by noticing your language. When you are saying to someone that you don't mind doing something and you end up saying no problem, the thing that sticks in someone's head is the word problem. Our brain doesn't process no. It only processes the affirmative. For instance, if I were to say, don't think about tigers, You just thought about tigers, right? So when you say to someone, no problem, what they're hearing is the word problem. And they're not taking away the experience which you probably wanted them to have, which was that you're happy to do something. So instead of saying no problem, you could practice saying, it's my pleasure, or you're welcome, or I'm happy to do it. Those things leave them with a different feeling and a different word stuck in their head. Like I said, these things are really nuanced, but I think that they can make a really big impact. The next thing you can do to make the experience of working with you really pleasurable is to streamline your communication. One very simple thing you can do is don't use emojis in place of words. For someone to process an emoji as a word in the middle of a sentence of words is a lot of brain work, surprisingly. It's not expected and it's not automatically on the tip of their tongue because they are used to reading the words. They're not thinking in symbols. It's like giving your client something really hard to do in the middle of something that should be easy. Just using emojis as symbols is absolutely fine. In fact, it's kind of fun when businesses pick an emoji as their signature emoji and they just use it all the time and it starts to be associated with their brand. I love that. But I don't recommend using an emoji to substitute for a word in a sentence. The other thing you can do to make it easy for your clients is to send links over and over again. Just because you've sent it once doesn't mean they have it when they need it. So if you're sending a reminder, if you're sending a sign up, if you're sending anything that requires them to find a link, send it in that very email. Don't remind them to go back and look at another email. Make it super easy for people to do the thing that you want them to do. Another thing you can do to streamline communication is always throw out there a suggestion. It's very hard to have a scheduling conversation and picking a date and time by just saying, let me know a good time for you. It's actually a service to them when you put out there a date, and if you're flexible, indicate that you're flexible. How about Tuesday at 10 if that works for you? And you can say, if there's a better time for you, let me know. Actually having something to bounce off of, it makes it easier for them. It gives them something to actually check as opposed to that open-ended, what time works for you. We think that's being more polite or more open or more sort of flexible, but it's actually making it harder for your client, and it's a place where you can just smooth it out. Even better is using a calendaring app so that all they have to do is click a link and then they can find a time on your calendar that works for them. This way you don't have to have a back and forth. The back and forth is actually such a time waster and a burden that sometimes people just don't schedule. They just don't get around to it. So having a calendaring app, I think there are free ones out there that you can definitely use. I use Acuity and I really like it. I'll leave a link to that below. I actually have special links for all the different conversations that I have with people, whether it's coffee with a friend or a check-in chat with a client or a clarity call with a potential new client. I have a different link for each of those things that have different parameters, and it just saves so much time and energy getting things on the calendar. I have one more tip to share with you, which you're gonna love, but before I share that, I would love to hear from you. If you have tips of your own for making things easy for your clients to work with you, please share that below. We'd all love to hear what that is. One of the main reasons that we care about making things easy for our clients and creating a pleasurable working experience for when they interact with us is that we want to create connection with our clients. We want them to feel like we get them, that we care about them, and that they're seen and heard. And so this last tip I'm going to share with you is probably counterintuitive to what you may have been doing all along. Often, in an attempt to create connection with people, we rush to agree with them. We rush to say we know what they mean. We rush to say, oh, yes, I have a story about that too. And we think we're creating connection when in fact we're sort of creating disconnection. People feel most connected when they feel like you have listened to them and that they are seen and heard. It is so common to see people agree too fast. And when you are agreeing too fast, you're shutting down the conversation and doing the opposite of what you mean to be doing. A better way to make your client feel connected to you is, instead of rushing to agree or rushing to say that you know what they mean, is to ask a question. This is a really rare skill these days. We are all so in a hurry. It takes a really deliberate effort to slow down and really listen and ask a meaningful question. asking an open-ended question of someone is actually an opening. It's a way of letting them express themselves even further. And if you've ever been on the other end of coaching or of someone asking a question like this, you know how good it feels when someone asks you a deeper question about something you've just said. For instance, if someone says they had a certain experience, you can ask them, what did you like about the experience? Or what was it like for you? Or what does that mean for you? In all the years that I've been asking questions like this, I don't think anyone's ever not answered. We all want to feel seen and heard, and it feels really good when someone creates space for us to say more about what we're saying, instead of shutting down the conversation by agreeing too quickly or assuming that we understand each other. When it comes to creating a good experience for your clients, this is a really sweet gift you can give to them. If you want more information about building a business that lets you enjoy the journey, I highly recommend you listen to the next video that I'm sharing with you. You'll learn about how to align your business with what is true for you and what matters to you. All right, I'm Annie Kipp. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next time.